It's farmers getting indebted, being locked into a debt trap in 2 or 3 years, being so deeply steeped in debt that they can't pay back, their land is taken away, and they end up committing suicide. So the official figures for farmer suicides of India are 291,000.
This is Grudowski of We Are Change.org, and I'm joined by the one and only Dr. Shiva, a physicist, a very renowned social justice worker who's been doing tremendous work for a number of years now. Now, Doctor, can you tell us about the effects of seed modification in India?
Well, from the mid-80s, the old chemical industry decided that if they were to genetically engineer seeds, they could then take patents and establish monopolies and extract royalties by claiming they had created something new. But globalization also allowed them to enter domestic markets and buy up local companies or lock them into licensing arrangements, which in effect meant all opportunities for having diversity in alternative supply were destroyed. Seed replacement was another aspect of destroying farmers' own seed supply. The impact, of course, has been very clearly felt in the cotton sector in India. India has been the home of cotton. We got our freedom through cotton. Gandhi pulled out a spinning wheel. I pulled out the seed, inspired by Gandhi's spinning wheel, to deal with these monopolies. Since '95, when these monopolies started to get built because of the new WTO rules, what we've seen is a concentration of control on the seed supply, beginning with cotton. In '97, '98, there was an attempt to introduce GMO cotton, but it was illegal. Our laws didn't allow it, and I sued Monssanto. So it was delayed. But they had started to buy up and lock in Indian companies in any case. And a hybrid seed market became visible. Before globalization, seed costs of cotton used to be 5 rupees. Monsanto's GMO cotton seeds cost 17,000% more.
Wow.
In addition, they are not bred for that area. They're not bred for rain-fed agriculture. So they fail more frequently. They're supposed to control a pest called the bollworm, but they're creating new pests, aphids, jacids, armybug, mealybug, requiring more pesticides, and the bollworm itself has become resistant, so they are now putting 2 toxic genes of Bt, selling it at higher costs. For them, the failure turns into a success in marketing. And what we witnessed beginning in these cotton areas is farmers getting indebted, being locked into a debt trap in 2 or 3 years, being so deeply steeped in debt that they can't pay back, their land is taken away, and they end up committing suicide. So the official figures for farmer suicides of India are 291,000 since 1995. These are figures up to 2013. More than 75% of these suicides are concentrated in the cotton belt.
Do farmers in India have a choice, or does the GMO crop kind of take over other natural seeds? Do they have to buy the GMO seeds? Can you explain the situation that's happening?
The situation in America is that Monsanto signs contracts with individual farmers. Farmers here are large, and locking farmers into contracts is the way they collect royalties. And the figures for US is $10 billion annually of royalty collection. In India, the farms are tiny, our farmers are small, 80% are less than 2 hectares. In any case, because of the work I've done, our laws don't allow a patent on seeds. But they still collect a technology fee. They just give it a new name. I'm fighting a case right now in the High Court of Andhra Pradesh. They call it creating a technology trait. And therefore we can charge what we want to, and no law of the land should work. The destruction of the freedom of the farmer to have seed is destroyed through 3 means. The farmer's own seed is destroyed through seed replacement, and in the early days, videos making the seeds look like they were being brought by our divinities and our gods and our saints. So farmers don't have a seed supply. the government mysteriously stops to work, and that's the case also in this country. The universities are not generating any public varieties anymore. The third is Indian companies. 60 Indian companies are locked into licensing arrangements, are not allowed to sell anything but Monsanto's GMO seeds. So it is a creation of a monopoly by destroying alternatives. And the new attacks on seed saving, whether it was in India in 2004 or it's happening this year through a 2004 Seed Act, where seed libraries, where seed is conserved, are being attacked, is to destroy the new set of alternatives that are growing as people become more aware of the harm of chemicals, the harm of GMOs. They're shifting to organic, and for organic you need organic seed. And so there's this new attack in this country on seed libraries to take away the freedom of consumers to have safe food. We fought that kind of law in 2004 in India, and we stopped it. And I do hope US citizens will exercise their seed freedom and their seed duty to protect the diversity of crops. Life is not about corn and soya alone. You do need variety, you need diversity, and you need it even more in these periods of climate change. But most importantly, seed was not invented by Monsanto. All intellectual property rights related to seed is a fraud, it's a scam, and it's in the name of technology. But it's basically nothing more than a Ponzi scheme.
So my last question is, how do we fight this? It seems Monsanto is pigeonholing a lot of American farmers. We're just learning about what's happening in India and in other countries. It seems like they give people no options, no choices. But can you tell us about some of the work that you've been doing and how to effectively fight this?
Yeah. So the work we've been doing through Navdanya, the movement I've built up in India, and the seed freedom movement that we've built up globally, is first to save every seed. Not just for ourselves, but as a duty to the earth. If we are to practice earth democracy, if we are to practice living on this planet as part of the earth community, then protecting biodiversity is a primary duty, and that's why we must save seeds. But saving seeds is also a food security requirement, because if we don't have diversity and resilience, our food systems are going to collapse, with monopolies on the one hand and climate havoc on the other. The second thing we do is link the seed to food systems that give us healthy food and don't destroy the planet, which is ecological agriculture. After all food begins as seed. And if you've got to have good food, you'd better have good seed. The third thing we do is recognize that these are manipulated laws. Just like genetic engineering manipulates an organism, with it goes manipulation of democracy and law. And we've learned from Gandhi, we learned from Martin Luther King, that unjust laws cannot be obeyed if we want to be free. Racism had to be put to an end through civil liberties movements, which included civil disobedience. In India, we wouldn't have got freedom without Gandhi marching to the beach and saying, we will make our own salt, nature gives it for free, we need it for our survival, we will not obey your laws. And we follow Gandhi on the salt satyagraha through the seed satyagraha. Satyagraha means the force of truth. In our times, the force of truth is the force of the truth of the earth, the force of truth of our rights, the force of truth of freedom. And how can we allow one corrupt corporation who only has a criminal history to destroy the planet and all our freedoms? We cannot allow this. We just have to do what every freedom movement of the past has done. Sow the seeds of freedom while resisting the seeds of slavery.
With Monsanto trying to take over the world, I'm so happy there's people like yourself standing up and fighting for the righteous cause of freedom and food, most importantly. Thank you so much, Dr. Shiva. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
If you stand your ground and be authentic in your voice and say what you believe, they can never shut you up. They can try to intimidate you, as happens to us all.
Many times.
They can